do the best you can, the best you know how, and just enjoy it. Like, honestly, we're just not here for long enough. We just aren't. So you have to enjoy as much as you can.
Welcome to another episode of Bigger Than the Hustle podcast. And today I've got a guest with me who was in the hair business and is still in the hair business, but in a different way. She used to be a hairdresser. Now she helps people with their business in the hair industry. And I'm sure that's right. And I'm sure we can talk about that and so much more. So before we carry on, I'm just going to introduce her. So hi, Stephanie.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm excited about this.
Not at all. I know this is something new for you, being on video, but so don't worry. And I'm sure we're going to share a lot of wisdom and a lot of thoughts today, right? So I'm going to hand over the mic to you for a couple of moments. If you could introduce yourself, and then we can go into the conversation from there.
Fabulous. Hello, my darlings. I'm Stephanie, and I am a hairdressing business mentor. So, as you said, I was a mobile hairdresser before for 7.5 years, but now I just teach other people how to set up and grow their basic hair or beauty business. That's what I do. It's, and mainly freelancers, but yeah.
Now, from what I understand about the hair industry, even though my own hairdresser, and a lot of hairdressers work on their own, don't they? Unless you're part of a salon, which is sort of like where you rent a chair a lot of the time, isn't it? And then sometimes. And the other type is where people work from home, or they'll have their own salon or something like that. And now we know, being in the current situation we're in, hairdressers have been hit hard over the last year in terms of operating and being able to operate. So it seems a brilliant time for you to venture into this side of the business, because cutting hair is one thing, isn't it? But understanding the business is a completely different thing. And that's like, I think, any trade that you go into, any industry that you be in, doing the job is one thing, but actually doing that as part of a bigger business is a completely different ballpark. Now, if someone came to you, if I came to you and I'm a hairdresser and I say, I want to work more, I want to leave this salon and I want to set up my own business, what advice would you give me first to know whether that's a good decision for me or not?
I think you need to decide why. And I think a lot of people, and this is exactly what you just said, and like I said, we had a session last night, so a training session last night. And in there, I said a lot of people, they get fed up in a salon. They don't want to be told what to do anymore. They don't want to be capped on what they can earn. So they think, I'll go and do my own thing. But being a hairdresser is not being a business owner. It's two very different things. And, I think probably in most trades, they don't actually teach you how to run a business. They teach you how to do the job, and they teach you how to have a job. That's it. And, with salons and stuff, hairdressers, they would teach you how to run a salon. But then that additional training comes from somewhere else. There's like people like me who teach that stuff, who, I did spend 5 years learning all the mistakes, and that's why I can teach other people now. So I basically, I said last night, I'm literally saving you 5 years of your life. So you can come and join us, or you can waste 5 years, and I can just teach you in a couple of weeks, like how not to do that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Now, what was it that gave you that impetus to take that step back and say, actually, everything that the knowledge I've gained from making the mistakes and falling down and standing up and falling down and standing up, and using that knowledge to say, I would like it if I could impart that knowledge so that other people don't have to go through all the same pitfalls as I did. And I know I can deliver it in an honest and open way, where I'm not trying to veneer it or put a mask on and pretend I know something that I don't, but I'm just going to give you my honest opinion. What was it that allowed you to take a step back from the chair to say, rather than cutting hair, I'm going to help people in this way? Because a lot of people can think about it, but they don't do it because they get so involved in the day-to-day running of the operation, as opposed to say, actually, I'd be better doing something else. What was it that gave you that mindset?
Well, actually, I said about this yesterday. So basically where it all began was I hit a point in my business and I had two options: work more or start retailing. And I was like, meh, don't really care about either of those. They sounded quite boring to me. So I then, there was a space, basically, I feel like I found a little loophole in Facebook. Not a loophole, what's the word? A gap.
Niche, a little niche.
Like nobody was helping mobile hairdressers. And I knew because I was one of them. There was no one out there going, right, hun, you've got this problem, let me help you fix it. There was nobody doing that. So I just started doing it. And, I was in all the Facebook groups and people were moaning about the same stuff over and over. And my thing was, why is nobody addressing this? So I addressed it. And that's where the hairy business grew. So, and it was, and I'm so sure the very first ones were like cancellations. Everybody knows that it is annoying when a client cancels on you. It's really infuriating because you've got to then either go without or try and find someone to fill that space. And you can't do that like in 10 minutes. So that's where it started. And it grew from there, basically.
Yeah. And I love the name, the hairy business. It just sums it up. So where did that come from?
And I'm doing it again for another business, actually. So if anybody's stuck on business names, get a piece of paper, chop it up, write all the words down that relate to what you're doing, and then just pick something out that you like. I'm working on a new business at the moment, so I've got to do it again. But I loved it because I was like, it's for hairdressers, it's business. Oh, I was like, yeah, the hairy business is a good one.
Yeah. It's perfect. And also, I think also that energy that you are giving off, I think it's a brilliant name for it because it's saying that even though I know what I'm talking about, I'm not going to deliver it in a business way. It's not like a Alan Sugar type of operation. It's just me giving you, sharing my knowledge. Now, let's take a step back. As you were growing up, what influences did you have, or what energy did you have around you that made it possible that you thought I could set up my own business?
My mum and dad, they're brilliant. They basically, and I think a lot of, some people wouldn't agree. My parents, basically, they just let us do what we want. And I think actually that's been brilliant for our confidence, because I see a lot of parents now, or even friends, they don't have any confidence because I think their parents are so like on them all the time. Whereas we were pretty free to do whatever we wanted. It's like, oh, I want to do this. Okay, go and do that. Oh, I want to do that. Okay, go and do that. And I think they're very, like, obviously, if it's something completely not allowed, we would be told. But for good stuff, I think we're just, my brother and I are just quite confident. We're confident people. And I think that's definitely been helped by my parents, because actually, I'm not scared to go out there and do what I want because I've always been able to do that. And I think, parents obviously have a definite thing in it. And then, I don't know, I'm just one of those people as well. I think, well, I'll just give it a go. And if it don't work, I won't do it again. That's too short. So,
it's a brilliant trait to have, because fear is I'd say the hurdle that stops a lot of people from trying most things, not just business, but lots and lots of things, right? The fear of failure, when there's no such thing, because it's just a path you take, and maybe you didn't take that path, maybe I'll try a different path. It's the way we perceive it, and it's the way we look at it. Now, as you've been helping people during this time now, this is a terrible time for hairdressers, and it's been a terrible time for a lot of businesses, but hairdressers especially, or any in the beauty industry, gyms, etc. What kind of things have you been helping and supporting them with to keep their mindset strong, to know when they come out of this, it's going to be a new normal, but things will carry on?
It's been a weird one, actually, and I think we're all feeling it now. Like the first time, it was a bit of fun, wasn't it? Like, oh yeah, we can sit around, it was summer, we can do what we want, it was great, right? And then the second one came a bit like, okay, this is the fun. And now the third time, everyone's like, I'm over it, I've had enough. But I think the first one gave everybody a chance to just stop. And I think it was honestly the best thing that's happened for a lot of people, because actually a lot of people were living lives they didn't really like. And now they've realised that, do you know what? I didn't actually enjoy that. They just did that because they felt like they couldn't get off that ride. But this definitely gave everybody a chance to just stop. And I think myself included, it was great because I could just go all in with the hairy business and put my hairdressing aside, because what I was doing was the two jobs at once. And, like anyone that's got two jobs, you're there all day and it takes all your energy. You get home and you think, oh, I can't be arsed. I can't be asked to do that next bit, because you're just knackered, because actually your passion's in the second one, but you've got to put your energy in the first one, and it kind of takes it away. So in the first lockdown, we did a lot of pricing, and in all the things that you should be doing in an ideal world, you should be doing weekly, monthly, whatever, but you just don't get a chance to because you're always working on in your business. So we did a lot of pricing, like social media, the websites. So we did that for the first lockdown. And then, last night, so what we're doing now, what I'm trying to get them excited for, we've hopefully got 6 weeks until we go back. They go back. I always get really confused with that. I feel like I'm still a hairdresser. We go back. And so we're going to be doing stuff like getting everything in order, because it's a panic. Trying to get loads of clients booked in all at once, it's really hard because everybody wants to be first, and then you don't want to tell them no, and so it's very stressful. So I'm setting up a 6-week program for them to do it all nicely and slowly, because it can get overwhelming. And and then, like you said about the fear, people, they do worry, so and so is going to leave me if I don't do her first, or I've got 100 people to book in, and it's overwhelming, and it's a lot. So I like to break stuff down and just try and make it as fun as possible, because business is fun. It is fun. It's obviously really hard as well, but it is and it can be fun. So yeah, we're trying to do that for the next 6 weeks, just to get everyone back into it. It's going to be like, you're sitting around all day doing not a lot, and then you're going to have to go back out and actually go to work like you used to.
Yeah.
It's really hard.
Now, what advice would you give people that have their own business? So not necessarily hair, for example, but have a similar type business where they have clients and they take people on, and then they charge for their services, whatever that service is. Now, I know a lot of, not just hairdressers, but a lot of people are in a similar position where they feel, first of all, they may be undervaluing themselves. So in terms of the price they charge, okay? And even when I set up my business, so I've had my business for 20 years, we do sort of home entertainment installations. And I reached a point where we were always full, but we seemed like we were paying the bills in just a little bit more. And it didn't seem to make sense, the amount of energy and hard work we were putting into it. And only when I said, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise my prices. And then if that means that it frees up the diary and some people just go, we just have to let them go, that we're not for them anymore. But the ones that stay are the ones that will stay with us long term. And I've learned that the ones that you spend your time with them value, and you price accordingly, because you have to look at, you both have to be looked after, right? You have to be looked after, but to give that service, they have to be looked after as well. And they value you, therefore that's the price that you pay. Now, what advice would you give people that are scared to do that because they're like, well, everyone will just walk away and actually I won't have a business?
Right, I love this. I love talking about money, because I just think like it makes the world go round. And yeah, like everybody has that fear, right? And I remember my first price increase. Oh my God, they're all going to leave me. They're all going to run away. I'm going to have nothing left. Like, it doesn't happen. Like, it does not happen. Seriously, I've done enough price increases. They never all leave. And you know what? If they walk away, that's fine. They were the wrong person for you. Yeah. Oh my God. I feel like, I just want to shake people, because so many people, they go, oh, I can't. And do you know what? I'm just like, hun. And also, you have to release some of the lower paying people to get the higher price ones, because I'm telling you now, your low prices are turning off a lot of people, because people think, oh, I've got to be cheap to get all the clients. No, you're getting cheap clients. That is, and I've been there. I was there for a while. And you know what? Like you were saying, it's so hard. You've got to keep going every day. And then you start resenting your clients for paying the price that you chose, and you hate them. And you're like, oh my God, I hate you so much. And it's like, but I've got to work, so I've got to make this money. And honestly, it's your own stupid fault. But we've all been there. And you know what? Put your prices up. You'll be fine. Honestly, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. You do it all the time.
And what I found is that it's the way you express the value you have in yourself as well, isn't it? It's not even the money at the end of the day. No. It's that, because that, even if you triple it, it's the value you put in yourself and say, I'm worth this. If I'm putting this energy into you, I am worth that exchange in value. And only when you work that bit out that you're not willing to go back to the old way, right? But just like you set your price, and then you don't want to work for that price, but you're like, I set the price and they're coming in at that price. Yes, I get that. Now, with a small business, right? So I was in this hat as well for a long time, where you try and do everything yourself, right? So you're running the business as well as working on it, as well as operating, doing the numbers, all that. And what I found is that the best value you can create is bringing the people in that are good at what they do, so you can just concentrate on what you're good at, right? In terms of your business. Now, at the start, that might not be possible because of your cost structure, because you're just starting and you want to manage that. What advice do you have people that are starting up to get their mindsets ready to say, as soon as you can afford it, get your accountant in, get your marketing team in, get whoever in, so you can just concentrate on cutting hair and they do all the other things?
I love these questions, actually. It's really good because I forgot, actually. And so I actually had a VA only for a short while when I was hairdressing, and I completely forgot about her, which is really bizarre because now the hairy business I wouldn't run, or I had it for a very short time, and then I had a VA. I couldn't run it by myself, but it's quite a different type business. And I think this is where people go wrong. I think you do have to have that mindset of, you can't have a great big fat juicy business if you're doing it by yourself, because you only have so many hours in a day. And I'm single, I don't have children. When I started, well, I did have a partner, but I lived at home, so my time was my own. I didn't have to be there at dinner time or sort the kids out. So if you have less time to spend on your business, you need to start outsourcing as soon as you possibly can. I know some people are like, no, I'm going to do it myself, I want to save the money. But actually, that can be a really expensive mistake to make, because, like I said, for you to go, right, I'm going to sit and do my accounts, it's going to take me 2 hours a week. That's 2 hours you could spend with your kids and pay 40, 50 quid, I don't know how much an accountant is. But you could pay someone and have that time with your family. You're never going to get that time back, but money you can make over and over again. So I think definitely... I talk about accountants because I've never done my own accounts. Well, I did them once and I got it wrong, and that was like the first year. So honestly, I was like, I'm never going to get this right. So I've always had an accountant. Numbers are not my thing. I love talking about money and stuff, but accounting is boring. I find it, honestly, why would you waste your life doing stuff you don't like? Honestly, just pay someone else. And they love it. They love doing their little numbers and spreadsheets and stuff. They love it. Why pay them? Let them live their life with their spreadsheets, and you do what you want to do. That's what I think. And it goes for everything. I can't work out my website. I've got WordPress now. Don't know where all the buttons are. So I have to pay someone because I can't be bothered to learn. Because you know what? I'd rather sit and do a live video and educate people and help them. Well, how would I waste my life trying to work out where the buttons are? Well, I could be doing something fun, right? Yeah. I appreciate, and I completely get it, when you first start, you don't have the money to get help, right? But if you have the time, try and learn as much as you can. So like I say, in my VIP group that I've got, everything's there. You're like, I spent that time in the first 5 years learning how to do a Wix website. So now I've got a course, how to create your own website on Wix. It's a walkthrough, talk through. It's there step by step. Of course, you can go and get all this stuff on Google, but then you've got to find it. You've got to find someone that you like listening to, because some people are weird. And I just think, do you know what? It's all there in my group. It's all there for them, or I'll get experts in. But do you know what? If you've got the time, either learn to do it yourself, or, just learn to do it yourself, actually.
But also, it's like when I started, so 2-3 years ago, I started to play the piano. And when I first went to my first lesson, so then people were saying, oh, you can go on YouTube. And I said, I like working with people. I'm just analog like that. I'm not in the digital age. I like people to people, that whole thing about the building an education from that. Now, when I went to see my teacher, first lesson I had, so he goes, okay, so tell me what level you are in terms of piano, etc. I said, well, I've got this music book and I've got these keys and I've got no idea what those two things mean. I don't even know how to read music. So he goes, so we're before the beginning. I said, we're in warm up. We're not even got to the start line, right? So those things, so every 2 weeks every week I'd go for a lesson. Then I practice at home. But the things he showed me, YouTube would never have showed me, in terms of the nuances of playing and how to press the key properly and understand how to listen properly. And that's what you buy into, isn't it? The experience of that, which, like you said, you can spend a lot of time doing all that yourself and probably do a pretty crappy job, to be fair. And like you said, you tried your numbers and realized I'm no good at numbers, so I'm not going to do that. And another thing an accountant will tell you is loads of things that you didn't realize you could claim for until he tells you. And my accountant even said to me, he goes, whatever you're paying me, if I can't save you double, then there's no point you having me. And it's true, isn't it? And that's why, like yourself, I've always had an accountant, because I'm like, I don't mind numbers, but I'd rather spend my time doing other things.
Yeah.
Now, moving forward, Stephanie, what's the plan for you over the next few years?
I'm having an app created, which is exciting. So my partner, he has Expert Apps, and it's a fantastic company, and they do loads of stuff anyway. But so I wanted an app because I just think the world's moving forward. It's very technology based, and people just love it. So, and I've got everything is on my website and Facebook, but we're going to try and bring that off a little bit so that, people can do stuff on their phones. Because I've noticed a lot of people don't have laptops these days, which I find absolutely bizarre, but a lot of people just play around on their phones and their iPads and stuff. And you have to be in front of these people, because if you're not, you're going to miss a trick. So I'm having my app made. That's very early stages. We've only had a couple of meetings, and basically just growing the hairy business. So that's my new business that I'm working on with the app. And then the hairy business, we're just gonna, again, I just like people to do better. Obviously I do only teach hairdressers at the moment, but I just think as a value in life, you just have to do the best you possibly can with what you've got. So it's just, for me, I just love that little, baby upgrades all the time. So that's what I'm going to carry on doing. I've done it for the last 2.5 years. I'll just love it. So yeah, just going to carry on as I am for now.
And I think exactly what you said there, as entrepreneurs, the one key word that I would say anyone starting their own business is learn to adapt, because that's what we've been doing all our lives, right? You adapt, and then you adapt again and adapt again. And I am 100% convinced that this whole pandemic and the whole economic fallout from it, in terms of the amount of debt and paying all that back, entrepreneurs are going to find the way out, because that's what we're designed to do, right? We will work our way. You close our business, we'll work another way out. You put a hurdle in front of us, we'll come out the other side, right? And I see that's the energy that we need in life as well, not just in business, but in life. When the boiler breaks down or the fridge breaks down, we can just sit there and cry, or we can say, actually, to get a new one, to get some to repair it, I ain't got time to sort this out, let me sort it out. And this is the way I think that mindset of an entrepreneur. And it's funny, so steps into my parents, my dad's from India and my mom's from Africa, and they came here as first generation. And my dad, so the immigrant mindset was graft, work hard, save your money, don't spend it on things you don't want to spend it on, and just build a life, build a foundation that you're strong moving forward. And there's such good lessons for anyone, right? In terms of, just don't be scared to work hard, because that's, I think, the basis of a real good life. But secondly is that don't spend your money frivolously, understand money, because it's so important to understand what you're doing with it, right? And then build a foundation with the people around you, with the communities around you, because it's all about people, isn't it? It's how we all connect with each other. And that immigrant mindset is something I try and tap into all the time. Even though now I was born here, I'm second generation, I'm still a bridging generation to that generation. So my parents' generation and my kids. So my kids don't really get that mindset, because they're now, and I'm convinced in 10 generations time they won't even know they're from India, to be honest. And that's how it goes. But I don't want to ever lose those ethics, because I know they're so important, not just for running a business, but just living a life as well, right? Now, if we take a step out of your business hat, and let's take that off, what kind of things do you enjoy to do outside of work to keep you motivated and grounded in your work?
Honestly, I always hate this question, because I feel like I sound really boring, but because I love what I do, I don't feel like, you said about taking the business hat off, there is no hat. I am what I am. I love watching just a business. I love watching businessy stuff. I love reading books about like self-development and growth and stuff. And I just love all that. It's what I do. And I think I do like watching Netflix and stuff, but even I was watching the other day that story, the self-made story, with the hairdresser. Like, I just love it. I just love all that stuff. And I've never actually watched Dragon's Den properly, but I caught a glimpse of it the other day and I'm like, oh, where have I been all this time? Like, this is amazing. So I started watching that and honestly, I feel like I'm literally a boring person, but I just love it. So that's what works for me. But I do have my friend, those, I can forget what they're called. Like, what are they called? Oh my God, I can see it in my head. It's the sheet diamond painting. That's it. Have you seen those?
No.
It's like the weirdest thing, right? So it's like a sticky thing with a picture on it. I've got giraffes, and then you get these little like stones, and then you put them in the right place, and it just creates a nice picture.
Oh, okay.
I think your brain. So I've been doing that while I watch telly.
Okay.
But other than that, once I've done that, I'll probably just go back to reading like self-development books and stuff. To be honest. So, yeah.
And what I like, the development of now audiobooks. So going out for a run and listen to a book, I love it because because there's nothing else I'm doing apart from running, and because now I'm running longer distances, I'm out for sometimes 2-3 hours. And rather than listen to music, because I think I get a bit bored of music after a bit, I like listening to, stuff, whether it be a podcast, whether that be a book, but just something that I can just concentrate on without concentrating on anything else. Because there's very little time we get these days, isn't it, where you can just concentrate on one thing and enjoy that one thing. So I find that time. And also running, I have meetings with myself. So I ask myself, I check in with myself and ask how the week's gone and stuff. So it's a bit crazy, but I enjoy it. Sometimes I do it out loud as well when I'm running. So that's a bit crazy when someone's walking past someone. Now, you talked about books. Now, is there any books that you can recommend to the listeners that you found quite useful?
I found it really hard. Actually, I've got this one because I'm working on something at the moment. But I've got so many, but this one that I've gone back into at the moment, How to Build a Brand in 30 Days by Simon Middleton. It is brilliant. I have listened to this, again on Audible, another one, because obviously where I was doing mobile hair, I was in the car all the time, so I'd always have books on. I must have listened to this about 8 times. When I find a book that I like, I will just go on repeat. And I think every time you read a book or every time you listen to something, you get something new from it. Because obviously, whatever your life changes as you go along, and stuff stands out that may not have stood out before. Another one that I'm reading at the moment that I'm obsessed with is Florence Shin, The Game of Life, or The Game of Life and How to Play It, something like that. I've got the 3-in-1. So it's a little bit godly in places, and because it's like from the 1920s or 40s or something. So it's really old, but it's brilliant. It's very spiritual. And it's really good. But those two probably, but that's it. But I've got tons. On my Instagram, I've actually done my Audible list and a real life book list because people ask me all the time, so that I've put them in thingy so that you can have a look. But yeah, there's loads.
Yeah. And like you said, it's tapping into knowledge that someone else has spent so much time maybe learning about, researching, use their time, that we can shortcut that tapping into that knowledge, right? And it's like autobiographies as well. I don't know if you read many autobiographies, but reading about someone's life and what they've done in terms, especially if it's an area that you find interesting, there's so many things that people have done that you're like, you spent 50 years, 60 years doing this, and I can just tap into this by reading a book and then maybe pick up something. Yeah. And I love that concept, having that ability to tap into knowledge and information that would have taken you years and years and years. It's like talking to an old person, well, isn't it? Someone who's lived a life. I remember talking to a lieutenant colonel in the airport lounge once. He's like 75, retired. Some of the stuff he told me about war, I was like, this is so interesting.
I think old people are the best because they've just got 100%. And you're just like, I remember one of my clients, and she told me about the days when they used to use cocaine at the dentist, and I'm like, what? I'm like, oh my god, that's not safe. It's just normal, and I'm like, oh, this is brilliant. So yeah.
And unfortunately, the Western culture we live in, all people seem to have been sidelined but there's so much knowledge and there's so much wisdom. Because there's one thing having information, isn't it? But the second thing, having wisdom, and wisdom, the ability to decipher and use it in a productive way. And I think that's what comes with age, doesn't it? That's what comes with time, when you can look back. And it's like, even like as you get older, I know you're quite young, Stephanie, like I'm mid-40s, so I'm quite old, considered old. But it's funny now that you start finding a center ground where you're like, I like that and I don't like that. And if I don't like it, I'll openly say I don't like it, or I choose to spend my time doing certain things, or I choose to tell you straightforward, I like this and I don't like this. Whereas when you're younger, I remember 20 stage, you get pulled about so much in terms of, people trying to shift your, pull you this direction, pull you that side, parents telling you do this, do that, etc. And then you get to middle ground and I ain't listening no more. I'm just going to do it my way. And it's a nice space to reach that you can move forward from there. Now, I've got a fun part of the podcast now, because you've already been a great guest, because I love these conversations, just open and honest, right? So I'm going to do a quick fire 10 questions, all right? So all I want you to do, there's no thinking about it. So I ask you the questions, take a moment and just answer whatever honestly comes up for you. I know sometimes it's not even the real answer, but it's just nice and it's a bit of fun just to make people smile when they're listening, right? Right. So I'm going to ask you 10 questions. They're all completely random, and just answer the way you wish to answer. All right? Fine. What is the strangest thing you've ever eaten?
Right, the first thought was snails, but I don't know if that's weird, but they just tasted like the garden and a lot of garlic.
You have to cook them first though, don't you? Okay. If you could get yourself anything, what would you get?
A mansion. I just want a mansion. I just need all the room to roam around. So yeah, mansion, 100%.
What is the one thing you own that you wish you didn't?
Oh, nothing. I'm quite happy to just get rid of stuff. But yeah, I don't know. Nothing, I don't think.
A previous guest said to me, my phone. She goes, I need it, but I wish I didn't have one. If you could be world famous for one thing, what would it be?
I don't know. I'm just going to go with the hairdressing thing, helping freelancers in the whole world. Okay. Yeah.
What's the most interesting thing you have in your purse or wallet?
To be honest, I haven't seen that for a while. I just take my card around with me now. I've started using my phone. And when you say wallet, do you mean actual purse or handbag? Purse or handbag or wallet, yeah. No, nothing. I don't even know where it is. Don't know. Bad.
That's fine. What fashion trend do you just not get?
Oh, those god-awful, chunky trainers. I'm thinking of the Balenciaga ones. They're ugly. Why spend so much money on disgusting items? But they do well, apparently. Yeah.
Chocolate or cheese?
Oh, neither. I don't eat cheese anyway. I don't like cheese. And chocolate makes me feel sick. But if I had to, obviously, I'd go for the chocolate. But
okay, so I'm going to revert that question slightly. What is the one food you wouldn't want to give up?
Chicken. I hate a lot of chicken.
If you could teleport, where would you go and why?
Oh, I think I'd go back to the Victorian era because I just love it. And I honestly think, in a past life, I had a fucking mansion. I want to go and see where I lived because there's a reason why I want a mansion so bad. If
you could be invisible, what would you do?
Ooh. At the moment, I don't know. I was thinking if I did that before, I'd probably like to go into town and just I don't know, go and just poke around things in areas that you shouldn't go to. I don't know why town, but just town. When it was busy and the shops are open, but now it'd be pointless. You pretty much are invisible. There's nothing happening. So, yeah.
Okay. And if you could write a book about your life, what would it be called?
We've spoken about this because I do want to write a book. So I swear a lot, and I think that might have to be in the title somewhere. But honestly, I don't know. That's a really hard one. But somebody did have I can't remember what it was, but someone did give me a really good idea, and it's on my laptop somewhere. But yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I think that's a really hard one, isn't it? Because I don't know.
Well, it's funny because someone said I'll just call it my name because there's only one me and there'll only be ever one me. So thank you for that. Thank you for that honesty. That's 10 questions, and it's funny because people say, was that 10? That felt like 7. But yeah, I thought I'd just lighten the mood a bit. I know it's been very light with you anyway, so I thank you for that. So now, first of all, I'd just like to acknowledge you, Stephanie. Thank you for coming on today. I know this has been a rare appearance on screen for you, on video for you. So thank you for agreeing to come on. Jody said to me that, you have to get Stephanie on. So I said, let me send you a message, and thank you for agreeing to come on. Now, just before we head over to the end of this podcast, there's a couple of more questions I'd like to ask you so people get a little bit more of an understanding about you as a person. So we're now going to fast forward 100 years into the future where you're on your last moments of life. You don't have enough energy to speak, but you have enough energy to write down 3 words. Now, these 3 words have resonated with you and they've helped you all your life. And you hope by sharing them, they can help other people on their journey. What would those 3 words be for you?
Right, I've got different ones. I was going to say, don't hesitate, because my dad...
They can be individual words. They don't have to be 3 words together. It can be individual.
Oh, okay. So, well, I don't know. I was going to say, like, again, just do you. Like, that's a good one, because I think, again, like you were saying, when you're younger, people pulling you around, do this, do that. You don't know, you can't think straight, and you get to that point, you're like, nah, I'm going to do what I want to do. But if you can just bring that forward like 10 years, that'd be great. Just to help yourself. And, with the thing about my dad, and I think it's when I was learning to drive, and it stuck with me. And, when you're like, he's like, don't hesitate. And I'm like, oh, go, just go. Don't hesitate. Don't think about it. Just go. So that I do. That's it. And I think that's where it came from. And I swear that's where it came from, but that's what my memory tells me. That's what it was. Just go for it. Don't even think about it. Yeah.
And it's funny. The first one you just said there. There's a saying by Dolly Parton. You may want to look this up. And she says, "If I can leave you with one thought, it would be go out and find yourself and be yourself the best way you can." Yeah. And don't try and be someone else. And it's exactly what you were saying, just learn about yourself and within and be the best version you can, right? Yeah. Right. So this podcast was called Bigger Than the Hustle. And right now you're bigger than the world. So I've got a mic and you're connected to 7.58 billion people on this planet. They can all hear you. They're all connected. They're all conscious. There's no language barrier. And they're all awake, waiting to hear what you've got to say. If I could plug this mic in for the next 30 seconds, what would be your message to the world?
It's a lot of pressure. I think just, like we were just saying, do the best you can, the best you know how, and just enjoy it. Like, honestly, we're just not here for long enough. We just aren't. So you have to enjoy as much as you can and learn those lessons. I'm a big, make mistakes and quickly and don't make them again. I feel very strongly about that. But you have to learn. So yeah, do it quickly.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Stephanie. Thank you so much. Now, just before we go, is there anything else you'd like to say?
No, but thank you for having me. This has been fab, actually. I like the idea of a video podcast because I've done podcasts and I find it weird just talking with no face, and I love the visual. Yeah, that works.
Yeah. So yours will be starting soon as well, right? So you should be.
I feel like I should. Everyone keeps saying that, but I'm like, there's always so many things to do, and
there is. Well, yeah. But I tell you what it's helped me with. So I started this in the last lockdown, just like you. I thought, while I'm not operating my business, what else can I do? And I just wanted to bring conversations out into the open like this, just to share. And the amount of interesting people it's exposed me to has been phenomenal. And I probably get more than they do out of the conversation, in terms of I feel alive after each conversation, and I love it because it just keeps me on my path and it keeps me moving to the way I need to go. So it is a brilliant. And if you ever do decide to start, let me know and I'll give you the pointers and I'll give you the shortcuts to sort of help you move forward and stuff. So thank you so much for your time today. I know you're a very busy woman with so much to do and so many businesses still to create, and there's so much still in you. So hopefully the world sees this. And if you ever need any help with anything from an older head, someone who's a bit further down the road, please just reach out and ask, and I will always be there to help you, right? Perfect. Now, I'm Bhavik Patel, I'm your host, and this was Bigger Than the Hustle podcast. Just before we go, a few thoughts. Big energy leads to big thoughts lead to big ideas lead to big actions, and big actions lead to a big life. So keep thinking big. Until next week, goodbye.
If we can honor every emotion as if it were an angel sent from heaven to guide me, if we could welcome it as an esteemed guest, and if we could be curious about it as if we're a scientist exploring and understanding a new phenomenon, then we could harness that